This is the story of a Lafayette kid who was drafted in 1968 and became a helicopter pilot in the Vietnam War. That young man was my older brother Keith, and this is his story in his own words. This clip was published March 22, 1968 in the Contra Costa Times. This is my attempt to honor his service and that of all others that fought in that war.
I was drafted. Best thing that ever happened to me. I went to an Army recruiter, and first thing I saw was an Army brochure to become a Huey pilot. I was hooked. The recruiter needed helicopter mechanics, so he said sign up for that, and then you can switch to flight school. This was mostly BS, but it's actually what I did. It took me over a year and a lot of effort to finally get into flight school. I was trained as a mechanic on Hueys before I was able to get into the flight school, which was not easy. It took me 6 months. Each of the requirements had to be completed one step at a time. It required several aptitude tests, an FBI background check, an aviation medical exam, a review by a board of officers, and a letter of recommendation by my company commander. By the time I completed all of them, I was already on orders to ship out to Vietnam as a Huey mechanic. I was on the waiting list to be assigned to the Warrant Officer Candidate School, combination of Officer Candidate School and Rotary Wing Flight School. I went home on leave, and I wanted to see if I could somehow get into flight school sooner. I only had 2 weeks. I started making phone calls. The Army is a huge organization. I made lots of calls. I think Dad was upset with the amount long-distance calls I made. After several days, I found the lady in Fort Meade, Maryland, whose job it was to assign candidates to upcoming classes. I explained my situation. I had no problem going to Vietnam, but I was on orders to leave as a Huey mechanic in less than a week. She said, I understand your situation, and I think I just saw your application. Let me see what I can do. 2 days later, I received 2 telegrams from Fort Meade. The first canceled my orders to Vietnam, and the second assigning me to Warrant Officer Candidate School in Fort Walters, Texas. She also sent me an airline ticket. My class started a week later. While I had pulled it off, Warrant Officer Candidate School was tough, and over 50% did not complete the course. I was not a particularly good student, poor study habits, but I was not going to flunk out, so I worked my butt off and completed both the primary and secondary training. The training was excellent, and 9 months later, I graduated and my sister merrily pinned on my wings. It was a really big deal for me. Shortly after that, I was sent to Vietnam. I thank God for the excellent training I received because the fly we were doing was very difficult. We rarely landed on a runway. We were landing where combat was going on. Sometimes in the jungle where soldiers had blasted a landing zone by blowing trees down with Claymore landmines, so we could quickly pick them up. Sometimes we landed near grass fires that had been started by artillery shells. We always flew with the cargo doors open to get soldiers in faster if the landing zone was burning. As the rotor wash would throw the burning grass into the helicopter, it was pure chaos. Extraction, picking up soldiers can be tricky. You don't know how much they weigh or how many there are, and if the helicopter is overloaded, you simply can't fly. One time when I was overloaded, but didn't know it, I tried to take off from a landing zone that was only about 100 feet wide with trees that were 80 feet tall. I got to the top, but engine RPM had fallen to 6,000 revolutions per minute, which was not high enough to maintain flight. Now I'm falling out of sky and going to crash. I hit the right pedal and pointed nose down and dropped the collective to gain engine RPM. The engine spun up, I pulled the collective up and cushioned the landing. I did not have to ask for volunteers to get off that time to lighten my load. I was also shot down doing an insertion. Insertions required us to land, and we had unfortunately flown right over enemy troops who were firing at us. We were low and slow, always very dangerous, and they shot out the engine. I auto-rotated to a safe landing, and me and the rest of the crew were picked up by another aircraft. The Huey was picked up later in the day and dropped off at the maintenance area, and it was flying again in a few weeks. Today, helicopters and other aircraft are often shot down with rockets, which almost always cause catastrophic damage. No, that was a different day. Having our aircraft hit by small arms fire, such as AK-47 rifles, was very common. One day, I came back with 27 holes, including several in the blades. Blade hits are extremely dangerous, as when blades fail, you are dead. Thank God that didn't happen, bro. photo here of Keith packed up and ready to come home from Vietnam in 1969. A few parting words from Keith. I have to thank you again for you making that Vietnam video. I was stuck in keeping my Vietnam experience locked up. After I got home from Vietnam, I was a mess. Later on, I had Vietnam t-shirts, but I never wore them and finally threw them away. You got me watching those Huey YouTube videos, and it brought everything back. Watching those Hueys flying, I was filled with the thrill and excitement I had felt when I was flying. In Vietnam, I was intensely proud of what I was doing. We flew 8 to 10 hours, 6 days a week. The kind of flying we doing was very challenging just to keep from killing ourselves and our passengers. Flying long hours in formation was exhausting. You are staring at the aircraft in front of you to maintain a safe distance, sometimes for hours, and if you got too close, everyone dies. The landing zones were difficult and filled with hazards. But it was fun and exciting flying back to the base at low level, which was dangerous, but it was about the only fun we got. I thank you for getting me past those barriers. I'm finally going to wear my Huey t-shirt to our 4th of July parade this year, and from now on.
Many thanks to Keith for his service and sharing his Vietnam experience with us. Most of the photos are screenshots from Huey helicopters UH-1, a compilation of genuine Vietnam War color footage, and other internet websites. Background music from Facebook Studio titled Other by Dirty Dave. Produced by Mark Harrigan. Thank you for watching.